Welcome, and thank you for being here. If you are a Sagittarius and you happen to click on this, please trust me, this is not random. There is something important waiting for you to hear, right now. Because if you are tired after a long journey, if you feel like you have been fighting for so long and still haven't truly had a chance to breathe, then 2026 is carrying a message for you. One unlike anything you have heard before. Not a message telling you to push harder, not another call to prove your strength, but a quiet truth meant to reach you gently. The battle is coming to an end. So stay with me for just a moment. Listen, not just with your mind, but with your heart. Because from this very moment, a deep calling is beginning to touch you, guiding you back to something you have carried since birth, something you may have forgotten during all those years of always moving forward. Right now, as you're hearing these words, allow yourself to slow down, just a little. There is nothing you need to do, no place you need to go. Just be here, just listen. Because something very important is unfolding in your life, Sagittarius, even if you cannot name it yet. On the outside, you still look like the person everyone knows, optimistic, strong, always moving forward, as if nothing could ever stop you. You are used to standing tall, used to smiling when things are not fully okay, used to saying, "I'm fine," even when something inside you feels unsteady. You are the one who inspires others, the flame that helps people believe that tomorrow can always be better than today. But only you know the truth. Deep inside, you have been fighting for a very long time, not loud battles, not visible struggles everyone can see. These are the quiet wars, the ones that appear when night falls, when the room goes silent, when there is no one left to impress, no one left to be strong for. The thoughts repeat themselves, like a spiral with no clear end. Am I on the right path? Do these efforts really lead me where I want to go? Will I be safe, stable, secure enough to stop worrying about tomorrow? That battle is no longer outside of you. It is not in your job, not in your goals, not in the people you meet along the way. It lives in your mind, in beliefs formed long ago, in responsibilities you placed on your own shoulders, in the feeling that if you stop moving forward, everything will fall apart. You are Sagittarius. You were born to expand, to explore, to believe that life holds more meaning than what the eyes alone can see. But perhaps there were moments when you forgot that you also need rest, that even the guide sometimes needs guidance, that even the strongest warrior was never meant to fight alone forever. The year 2026 does not arrive by accident. It is not just a new number on the calendar, not simply another point in time. It carries a calling, very deep, very quiet, yet unmistakably clear. A calling that reminds you you have not been forgotten on this journey, that unseen hands have been supporting you all along, even when you could not see them. Perhaps you became used to steering the boat alone, used to tightening the sails against the wind, used to believing that only constant effort could keep you from being swept away. But there are moments in life, and this is one of them, when you are invited to do something entirely different, not to try harder, not to fight stronger, but to listen more deeply and trust more fully. Can you feel it? That gentle movement inside you, as if something is beginning to soften, as if the weight you have carried for so long is no longer as heavy as before. Not because the problems disappeared, but because you are starting to realize you no longer have to carry them in the same way. Sagittarius, there are journeys that do not require you to run. There are doors that do not need to be forced open. And there are seasons in life when true wisdom is not pushing forward with strength, but allowing yourself to be guided. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, let yourself lower your guard, just a little. Not to become weaker, but to become lighter. Not to lose control, but to recognize that you were never truly alone. Somewhere very close, there is a current waiting for you to stop resisting it. A current carrying peace, clarity, and gifts you have grown tired of chasing on your own. And as you begin to feel this new rhythm, you will understand something profound. The battle you believed you had to keep fighting is quietly coming to a close, making space for a way of living that is gentler, deeper, and more true to who you really are than ever before. Sagittarius, you were born to expand, to explore, to live freely. From the very beginning, your soul carried a longing to go beyond familiar borders, to see more than others dare to see, to believe in horizons not everyone has the courage to walk toward. You are someone who knows that life is not just about surviving, but about experiencing, learning, and growing through every journey. And yet, somewhere along the way, your rhythm began to slow. Not because you wanted to stop, but because you were pulled into a quiet, exhausting loop you didn't even recognize at first. A loop where you had to fight on your own, protect yourself on your own, prove again and again that you were strong enough not to collapse halfway through. You kept walking, you kept moving forward, but each step began to feel heavier than the last. You became used to always pushing ahead, so used to it that you no longer allowed yourself to ask whether you were truly okay. Even when your soul was tired, you kept going, because stopping felt like failure. You feared that if you slowed down, everything would slip through your fingers, that if you didn't stay in control, didn't tighten your grip, didn't push just a little harder, everything you had built would fall apart. There are fears you never speak out loud. The fear of not having enough, the fear of not being enough, the fear that the road you're on might eventually lead to a dead end, the fear of losing direction, when goals that once felt clear begin to blur, the fear of choosing the wrong path, and one day looking back, wondering how you lost yourself along the way. None of this is loud, none of it dramatic, yet it quietly drains your energy, day by day, moment by moment. You may still smile, still encourage others, still say that everything will be okay, but only you know what it feels like to wake up each morning with an invisible weight pressing on your chest, to keep going even when you're no longer sure where you're running to. It feels like carrying a backpack that's too heavy, but never setting it down because you're afraid you won't have the strength to lift it again. Sagittarius. You may have grown used to being the strong one, the support, the guide, but somewhere along the way, you forgot something deeply important, that even the strongest person sometimes needs support, that even the one who always looks ahead does not need to have all the answers. This battle, no matter how long you've carried it, was never meant to be yours alone. It is not a test of how tough you are. It is not a measure of your worth. It is simply a sign that you've been walking too long without allowing yourself to rest, trying too hard while forgetting that some forms of strength do not come from personal effort. There is a gentle but powerful truth you need to hear right now. You are not failing because you feel tired. You are not weak because you feel uncertain. Those feelings are not proof that you're on the wrong path. They are signals that you've reached a moment where the way you move forward is meant to change. Just imagine, for a brief moment, that you don't need to prove anything to anyone. You don't need to run faster. You don't need to push harder. Just stand still and listen to your heartbeat for a moment. Beneath all the worry, beneath all the fear, there is still a very pure part of you. The part that knows how to trust. The part that knows how to hope. The part that never forgot that life was never meant to be a constant battle. And as you begin to notice this, very softly, very gently, a different question will rise within you. Not, how can I try harder? But, how can I stop holding myself so tightly? That question does not come to weaken you. It comes to open another possibility, another way forward. One where you no longer have to walk alone. There are moments in life when the greatest courage is not continuing to fight, but admitting that you no longer need to fight in the same way. And as that realization begins to take root, quietly, naturally, you may feel as if someone has gently placed a hand on your shoulder, reminding you that you can lower your weapons now, not because you lost, but because you've traveled far enough to step into a different way of living, one where the weight no longer rests entirely on your shoulders. There is a very special moment, one that not everyone recognizes when it arrives. It is not loud, It does not look like a major event. It does not come with dramatic signs. It arrives quietly, like a shift in the wind, like the first light of morning slipping through the door before you've even opened your eyes. And for you, Sagittarius, that moment is the year 2026. 2026 marks a sacred turning point, not because every challenge suddenly disappears, but because from here on, you no longer have to hold a sword and fight without rest. You've grown used to always being ready, used to being stretched tight like a drawn bow, used to the feeling that if you relax even a little, everything will slip out of control. But there is a gentle truth you are about to touch. You were never meant to live your entire life in a state of battle. The message for Sagittarius now is so clear it barely needs explanation. Letting go of control is not giving up. Letting go does not mean failure, and it is not surrendering to life. Letting go means placing the battle back into the hands of the one who knows the destination better than you, knows the path better than you, and understands timing better than anyone else. Perhaps it has been a very long time since you allowed yourself to believe this. You believe in action, in effort, in willpower. You believe that if you stay persistent enough, everything will work out. And yes, that belief has taken you very far, but it has also exhausted you, because you've been carrying a role that does not always require human strength. There are doors that do not open through force. There are knots that cannot be loosened through tension. When you stop trying to bend everything to your own will, something very different begins to happen. It feels as if the current you once fought against suddenly softens, as if invisible walls that blocked your way quietly step aside. The door of destiny begins to open, not with noise, but with a deep sensation inside you. The feeling of fully exhaling after holding your breath for far too long. Divine guidance does not come to take away your freedom. It comes to return you to your true nature. You are Sagittarius, the soul of the journey, of belief, of expansion. When you allow a greater force to lead the way, you do not lose direction. Instead, the path becomes clearer than ever, not through anxiety, but through peace. Imagine someone who has walked a very long way through the desert, carrying a map, carrying a compass, yet still doubting whether they are headed the right way. And then, in a very quiet moment, they lift their eyes and realize the night sky has been guiding them all along. The stars were always there, but only when they stopped staring at the ground, stopped struggling with every step, did the sky reveal itself fully. You are the same. When you stop controlling every small detail, stop blaming yourself for not being fast enough, not far enough, not enough. You begin to notice that you are being guided by a different rhythm, the rhythm of trust. The rhythm of knowing that not everything needs your force to be handled. At first, this feeling may confuse you, as if you are stepping into a space that feels both familiar and unfamiliar. There is no clash of swords anymore, no pressure to prove yourself, only silence, but not emptiness. It is a silence full of potential, where what truly belongs to you begins to find you. And as you remain in this state long enough, you will realize something deeply reassuring. You have not been abandoned in this process. On the contrary, you are being held, supported, gently guided along a path you might never have seen if you relied on strength alone. There is no need to rush, no need to prove anything. Just continue walking with a new kind of trust, quietly forming in your heart, knowing that from here on, you no longer need to fight as before, because a greater hand is silently guiding you back to where you truly belong. And then, very naturally, like your eyes slowly adjusting to the light after a long stretch in the dark, you begin to realize something important about yourself. Sagittarius, you were never born to be trapped in survival mode. You did not come into this world just to make ends meet, to endure, to push yourself through one more day of existence. Inside you, there has always been another fire, a fire that refuses to shrink, a fire that refuses to curl inward out of fear. You were born to be a bearer of light, a path opener, the one who walks ahead, not because you have every answer, but because you dare to. Believe that a path exists even before anyone else can see it. And yet, there were moments, very subtle ones, when you forgot that role. Not because you were weak, but because you had been carrying the weight of doing everything on your own for far too long. The year 2026 arrives like a clear invitation, never forceful, never demanding. An invitation reminding you that it is time to shift roles, not to change who you are, but to change how you carry yourself through this life. From being the one who believes you must handle everything alone, protect everything alone, carry everything alone, to becoming someone who trusts in divine timing, who understands that not everything requires your hands to intervene. At first, this transition may feel unfamiliar, as if you are standing in a quiet space that was once filled with the noise of plans, worries, and endless to-do lists. You may wonder, if I am not in control, what will happen? But within that quiet space, you begin to hear something different, softer, deeper, more real. When you stop resisting the current, life begins to arrange itself in ways that are hard to explain, but impossible to deny once you experience them. Opportunities appear without urgency. Money loosens its grip on fear. People come into your life not to test your endurance, but to walk beside you. And direction, the very thing that once troubled you the most, suddenly becomes clearer. Not because you chased it, but because you recognized it when it arrived. Sagittarius. This is not a fairy tale miracle where everything becomes perfect overnight. This is a very human miracle, a very real one. The miracle of no longer living in a constant inner war. The miracle of finally lowering the weapons you have held for so long that you forgot what it feels like to let your hands relax. No more war. No more proving. No more running faster than fear. Only expansion, true to your nature, an expansion that is not loud, not showy, but steady and grounded. You begin to move to a different rhythm now, not the rhythm of survival, but the rhythm of trust. And within this new rhythm, you realize something quietly powerful. The light you carry was never extinguished. It was simply waiting for you to stop forcing yourself into a role that no longer fits, to stop becoming someone else, so it could shine naturally again. When you trust in guidance, you do not lose freedom. You reclaim it, at a deeper level, where you are no longer ruled by the fear of loss. There is a quiet beauty in this moment, the beauty of someone who was once a warrior, now learning to walk as someone being guided, not weaker, not smaller, but wiser, lighter, and far more profound. Notice how something inside you is beginning to soften now, like water after a strong wind, like the sky after a long night of clouds. You do not need to name it, just feel it. Because within this calm, a new way of living is slowly taking shape. A way of living where you no longer fight to be worthy, but are gently invited into the expansion that has been waiting for you all along. And as you walk in this new rhythm long enough, when your shoulders finally soften, when your breath is no longer rushed, you begin to understand something very different about abundance. Sagittarius. The abundance your soul has been searching for has never come from pressure. It has never grown in moments of forcing, of bracing, of racing against time, or competing with anyone else. Your abundance has always been tied to the feeling of being fully yourself, whole, unguarded, at ease in your own skin. There may have been a time when you believed that doing more, sacrificing more, enduring more, was the only way life would reward you fairly. But the farther you went, the more tired you became. Not because you lacked strength, but because that road was never aligned with the rhythm of your heart. The heart of Sagittarius does not beat to the sound of a whip. It beats to meaning, to belief, to the quiet, knowing that you are moving in the right direction. When you begin living at your true frequency, a subtle shift takes place. You no longer wake up with financial worry pressing on your mind, not because money suddenly falls from the sky, but because your relationship with money starts healing at the root. You stop seeing it as a threat. You stop letting it define your worth. Instead, you begin to feel it as a flow of energy, coming and going in harmony, without force. The year 2026 is not asking you to try harder. It does not require you to prove anything anymore. It does not demand that you run faster than others or carry more weight to be recognized. This is the year you are invited to live lighter, but deeper, to trust more, without becoming blind, to open wider, while remaining grounded within yourself. When you stop fighting, the path reveals itself naturally, not as a detailed map with every turn already drawn, but as a quiet clarity inside, a knowing of where your next step belongs. You stop feeling lost in your choices. You stop fearing that you will choose wrong. Because when you trust guidance, you understand that even detours have meaning. Even pauses are part of the journey. The rewards that arrive now do not require struggle. They do not come with tension or the urge to cling in fear of loss. They arrive as gentle answers from life when you stop resisting it. An opportunity at the right moment. A person appearing at the right time. A door opening. Not because you pounded on it in anxiety, but because you stood there in quiet trust. Sagittarius. There is a deep beauty in allowing yourself to receive. Not receiving because you have suffered enough, but because you are ready. Ready to believe you deserve ease. Ready to believe that life does not need to be hard to be real. Ready to believe that abundance is not something to fight for, but something that finds you when you are standing in the right place within yourself. When God takes over, your role is no longer to control every small detail. Your role is to listen, to notice the subtle signs, to walk forward with an open heart. You do not need to understand everything immediately. You only need to stop resisting when goodness knocks at your door. And within that permission, very gently, you feel your inner world expand, as if there is more space now for joy, for gratitude, for dreams once postponed. There is no longer the need to defend yourself, no fear that if you relax, everything will disappear. Instead, you realize that it is precisely when you stop fighting that life finally has room to give you what it has been holding back all along. Let this moment sink into you. No rush, no need to name it. Just feel the fullness. Soft, warm, real. Because when you move through life from this place, you are not only receiving abundance for yourself, you are learning how to live in harmony with life itself. And within that harmony, something very deep begins to close, making space for a rare sense of peace, the kind you have been searching for through a very long journey. And as that fullness settles within you, as the feeling of safety begins to stand more firmly than worry ever did, there is something important that needs to be spoken now, not as a command, but as a gentle reminder meant only for you. Sagittarius, let this sink in, not through your mind, but through your breath itself. The battle is over, not because you became weaker, but because you no longer need to fight. You have not been abandoned. Even in the seasons when you felt alone in a world that felt far too wide, even in the nights when you wondered why you had to carry so much. The truth is, there was never a single moment when you were truly let go. Some presences are quiet. They do not announce themselves. They do not demand attention, yet they are always there, watching each step you take, supporting you even when you don't realize it. And most importantly, you are being guided, not in a way that takes away your choices, but in a way that opens choices you could not see before. This guidance does not force belief. It does not rush you. It simply invites you to listen more deeply, to trust more slowly, but to trust from a place that is far more grounded than ever before. The year 2026 is a year you walk lighter, not because life suddenly holds no challenges, but because fear no longer follows every step you take. You trust more, not because you finally have enough proof, but because you have lived long enough to understand that not everything needs to be controlled in order to be safe. And you live more truthfully than ever, no longer trying to become who you think the world expects, but returning to who you have always been. There is no more proving, no more explaining why you chose this path, no more bracing yourself just to deserve peace. The layers of armor that once helped you survive can now be set down. You no longer need them, because you are no longer at war. There is a quiet beauty in this moment. The beauty of someone who once walked through storms, now standing still and realizing the sky has cleared. Not because the storms never existed, but because they have completed their purpose. They taught you endurance. They taught you faith. They taught you the value of not giving up. And now, they are free to pass. Sagittarius, allow yourself to believe that you no longer have to fight alone. What needed to be proven is complete. What needed to be learned is enough. What comes next does not ask you to try harder. It invites you into a different way of living. A way of living where the future is no longer viewed through anxiety, but through gentle curiosity. God is taking over, not to do everything for you, but so you no longer have to carry the weight of the entire world on your shoulders. From here on, some things will come more easily. Some doors will open without you having to force them. Some answers will appear when you stop asking from fear. And from this moment forward, abundance is no longer a distant destination. It begins in how you walk, in how you see life, in how you allow yourself to receive goodness without guilt. Abundance begins when you believe you are allowed to live fully, both outwardly and within. Take a deep breath in, and as you exhale, let your body remember this feeling. The feeling of no longer bracing, the feeling of being guided, the feeling of safety. Rare, but deeply real. You do not need to show it to anyone. Just carry it with you in small choices, in ordinary days. In each moment, you choose trust over fear. Sagittarius. The battle has ended, not with victory horns, but with a profound stillness. And within that stillness, another chapter of life is quietly opening. Not loud, not dramatic, but strong enough to carry you forward with a lighter heart, clearer eyes, and the knowing that from here on, you no longer walk alone.